welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today we're going to be doing an ARC filled vlog. So today we will, well, it's not today, it's like over a couple of weeks, but this is the intro. So there are 3 arcs that I'm reading in this vlog. The first one that I read is Capture the Crown by Jennifer Epstein, I think is how you say her name. And this is an adult fantasy that is a sequel to her other series, and I don't know what the other series is, but it's a sequel to that years and years later. I've never read the first series. I didn't know that it was like a sequel to a series when I first picked it out on Netgalley. That's the first one. It's basically about a girl who is the princess of her country, and she's also a spy, and she is on the border of their rival country because gemstones start going missing from the mines, and she has to figure out who's stealing them, why they're stealing them from, and throughout that she ends up being transported and taken to the other kingdom, and she ends up being like in disguise at the kingdom and starts, you know, learning all these things about it, and then there's an enemies to lovers romance as well. Then the next book that I would be reading is Pack Darling by Lola Rock. This is an Omega verse harem book, and it follows Lila Darling, and she has been at the OCC, which is the Omega something Academy, I think, and it's basically where they train the Omegas to do everything that an Omega would do, what like to help the pack and all that stuff. So she's been in this academy and she is treated very poorly. Her most of the people there are there because their parents pay like a tuition for them to be there so that they can get put into good packs, you know, to elevate their status and stuff. But Lila's mother actually sold her to the academy, and so the academy owns her. So anything that she does, whether that be food, technology, Wi-Fi, blankets, any sort of health thing, she has to pay for everything, clothes, everything that she uses or racks up is added to her debt, and she has this massive debt. So at the very beginning of this book, she is told that she is going to be put into a pack house. She doesn't want to be an Omega. She wants to go like live in a cottage somewhere alone, not anything. So she's been that. So she gets told that she's going to be put into a specific pack, and she doesn't want that. The pack doesn't want her, but it's them kind of figuring this all out, and it's their story. So that's that. And then the third book is actually a manga, and it is Her Royal Highness Seems to Be Angry. And this is a manga where basically the princess ends up, I believe that she dies, and then her soul ends up being put into somebody else's body, so she wakes up years and years later in this body, even though she knows that she's the princess, and it's like what she's doing that. So those are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading for this vlog. But before we get into the vlog, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, and without further ado, let's start the vlog. So I have read I'm up to chapter 7 in Capture the Crown. It is, you know, this is late because it's currently June 24th, and this needs to go up in 5 days, but I also need to edit and film, you know, the thing. So I'm currently on chapter 7. I am 21% of the way through. I am liking it. I think I need to get further into the story to really like start to kind of fall in love with it and like appreciate it. There has been a lot of info dumping in the first couple of chapters, and my biggest critique at the moment, well, there's like 2 big things. So one is all of the info dumping. There has been like pages of just history and who Gemma is and who the Morricones are and who everybody is within this world. And I think if I had read the prequel series to this, I wouldn't be so confused, and I'd have put it on my like want to read on Goodreads, because I think that once I finish this, if I read the other one, everything in here will make a lot more sense and feel a little bit more cohesive. I also just want to hear the story of the other people. And I have found myself not wanting to read because I'm like, I don't know, I don't want the info dumping, but it is an interesting story, and this is where I'm conflicted with myself because it is an interesting concept. Now, my other gripe with this story is, well, I guess there's two other things. So one is that the ages of the characters are 29. Gemma, the main character, is 29, and I think the love interest is like 30, 31 around there, which isn't a problem. However, the way that this story is reading to me and the way that the characters feel is not that old. It more feels like they should be 19, 20 for Gemma, and then like 21 to 22, 23 around there for the other, for the love interest. And it's not that. And I think that's really throwing me off, and I've kind of pictured them as younger versions. So I think this should be marketed as a new adult novel, and the ages need to be changed because the way that it's written is not, like, does not to me seem like a 30-year-old person. They could have even been 24 and like 25. Like, I just don't think that the ages reflect being that old. Like, I just think they're a little too old. And then my last thing is the way that the magic system works in this. There doesn't seem to be any rules. Just telekinesis and I think telepathy. Yeah, because she can read people's minds. Her magic just seems a little bit too encompassing. And there doesn't seem to be a consequence to using her magic. Like, she'll use it and there's no like strain on her, or like there's no, at least right now there's no evidence of any kind of a strain, and the magic seems very rampant and very common for people. She just seems to have more than others. So yeah, so basically it's a 4.5 because everything starts out as a 5-star and then goes down. But yeah, I don't think it can't get those 0.5 stars back because there are problems with it. So in like my Netgalley review brain, I will say that when I am reading books for like pleasure, even though I am reading these for pleasure, I am much more lenient on books that I like choose to pick up and like there's no deadline to read them, and I tend to, those are for enjoyment. Unless there's like a big problem that I just cannot get past. I mean, even though I technically do critically analyze all of my books, but still, either way, you don't need to hear all this. But yes, so I am liking it, but I'm not absolutely. I'm currently on 40%. I'm in the middle of chapter 11, I think. And I just wanted to say that as of now, we've definitely gotten more into the actual plot of the book. Like, of the synopsis that I was given on Netgalley, we're getting a lot more into it. I don't know if I think that it did take a little too long for me to like actually get into the story, which kind of irks me just a little bit because like we're about 40%, and I just don't think that the actual plot of the story is even gonna like start until the end of this chapter, which is chapter 12, which would put me at, actually I'm on chapter 13, so at the end of chapter 14 I will be on 42%, and I think by the end of chapter 13 we'll have like the synopsis will have like stopped. And I've said this before, but I don't like when the synopsis tells me something that happens almost 50% of the way into the book. I just don't think that it makes no sense to me. Like, why are you going to tell me something like that happens that far in? But I will say that the action, or not the action, but like it's finally starting to pick up. I am excited to see like how this story goes, how it ends. There's a lot of really interesting characters and interesting players that are moving around each other. So yeah, point out that one of my favorite tropes is in this, and that is Well, so at the very beginning, one of them gets injured. I'm not gonna say which one, but one of them ends up getting. Actually, I think I said it in the last one. So anyway, he gets injured. She's saving him, but as she's like saving one of his wounds, she like turns him over so wrap around the bandages, and he has a whole bunch of scars on his back, and she literally said verbatim, "Who did this to you?" And I was like, oh, love that trope. And I think it's great because I've never seen it as a girl doing it to the guy. I've always ever seen it as the girl is injured or something happened. It's the guy saying, "Who did this to you?" So yeah. Okay, so I am currently
yarn.
Jack's helping me film, make sure I'm in focus and all that, and he gave me a red thing of yarn. So I'm currently on chapter. Wow, I'm really loud. I'm currently on chapter 21. I'm 65% into the book. I am liking it. I think as of right now, it's gonna be a 3 to a 3.5 star rating. Just because I like it and I'm really enjoying the story, but so a few things that are like hindering my experience. One, I am not entirely like I don't know, it's weird because I'm invested in the characters.
You're stupid.
I'm invested in the characters and I want to know the storyline, and it's a really intricate and complicated political like scheme and everything. But I just think that romance feels a little insta-love to me. Like, yes, they've had some interactions, but like there was a specific line that the main love interest said that I was like, if the love story was a little bit more believable in the sense of like if they had a little more time, I would believe it, but I don't. And I'm gonna show you what it is. It says, "I don't like to be touched," he rasped, "but I want to touch you." Because she basically noticed that he doesn't, like, whenever his sister touches him, he kind of flinches. Or like anybody touches him, he flinches. So she noticed that, so she wouldn't touch him. And then he said that, and like it's a cute line, and like I appreciated that, but it seemed a little too instant for me, if that makes sense. So yeah, that I have an issue with. And then I also think that some of the magic is a little bit off because our main character ends up being in a situation, and the main love interest, they both have magic, but she gets out of it, and then she wanted to contact the other love interest, but she couldn't do that because she was worried that someone would like feel the magic like signature that they have. But what confused me was that like a couple chapters earlier, they were sitting in like at dinner with everybody, and they were using the magic to communicate with each other. So I'm like, how it doesn't add up. So there's a few inconsistencies in it as well. So all of those things are kind of making me think that it's going to be a 3 to a 3.5 star read, because I am liking it, but there are definite issues. So yeah.
Can I sing to the people?
Go ahead.
Cannoli, cannoli, cannoli.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Cannoli.
Okay, hang on. This is sidetracked very much. It's not even to do with this book. Has nothing to do with anything in this vlog. But I just need to say because I thought it was funny. So I was talking to my dad and Jack, who's behind the camera right now.
Hi.
About how I want to make cannolis because I want to do my next installment for my books and bakes. If you haven't seen it, it's linked up above in the cards. For my next one, wanted to make cannolis because I want to do Kingdom of the Wicked. I want to reread it. Not reread because I don't have the physical copy with me, although I really wish I did because I really want to reread it with my annotations, and I'm kind of annoyed that I don't have it. But I'd probably listen to the audiobook. But I want to reread it, and I want to make cannolis because obviously Amelia makes cannolis for Wrath, and they have the cannoli thing, and he doesn't like the human food, but he loves his cannolis, and he will never admit that he loves his cannolis. But I don't know how many times he was seen going back for like third and fourth cannolis, but he will never admit to liking them. Anyway, this is besides the point. So I'm talking to them, I'm talking about it, and all of a sudden Jack starts singing, and he goes, "Cannoli, cannoli." How did you do it?
So if you,
Oh,
if
that's
you
another
know,
thing.
if you know your meme culture, you know the dancing cow thing. So the song is based off of that, and the beat is cannoli, 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 lee, cannoli, lee, cannoli, 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 noli, lo, cannoli, lee, cannoli, lee.
Oh, this also all came about because I was singing on TikTok. There's two of them. The I'm an international super spy. Super spy. It was that one, and then I was singing
The potato thing.
yeah, little potatoes, and it's like potatoes.
The dumbest thing.
Anyway, last night I ended up finishing Capture the Crown. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I just feel like I'm not saying I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. As you would have seen throughout this video, I had a few issues with it, but I think overall I really liked the story and I really liked where it was going and the potential that it has. Just as a recap, my major issues was, one, the ages of the characters seemed too old for the way that they were acting and the way that the story read. They were characters that were supposed to be like 28 to 30, and they kind of seemed more like characters that were 19 to 23-ish. So I had an issue with that, and then I also had a bit of an issue with the way that the magic system worked. Now, I do realize that this was a sequel series to like a completely different series that I'm sure probably explained the magic, but I think it's definitely a flaw that you don't recap your readers on how the magic works, why people have certain magics, things like that. And I feel like in a way it can be repetitive to other readers, but like if you're you know selling this story as you can read it as alone, you don't need to read it the others, you need to have some sort of explanation of the magic, because I genuinely did not know how the magic worked. I thought that the magic that our main character Gemma had and the love interest had was just too great. They could basically do anything. I mean, like, there were specific magics that they couldn't do, but you know, like, they had telepathy, telekinesis, empathy, stuff like that, to where like it just seemed a little too much magic. So I had an issue with that. And then my last thing was the insta-love. It was definitely an insta-love story, and I think that the romance was the thing that was least developed in this, and I think it definitely could have used a bit more work because I didn't believe it. Like, I didn't understand her infatuation with it. I can understand attraction at first sight, like you two see each other and you're very attracted to each other, but the whole, like, she constantly said like her heart, like she couldn't her heart was betraying what she was supposed to do, but like the scenes with them were never, to me anyway, any sort of like emotional relationship, so it was just weird in that aspect. So yeah, so all of that culminated to giving it 3.5 stars. Actually, I think I lowered it to 3.25 maybe, I don't know, but I basically gave it 3 stars. So yeah, that's that. I am moving on to Pack Darlings now. I am going to read it later. This one I'm a little worried about just because it's out of my comfort zone and it's a reverse harem, and I've never read a reverse harem. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I started reading it last night, like I read like the first paragraph maybe. Line was like, I'm like sitting in my apartment, no bra, with a giant TBR pile and some hot Cheetos, getting ready to sit down and do nothing. And I was like, that's hilarious. So yeah, I think it's gonna be like a really quick, fun read, so we shall see. Okay, so hello, it is currently July 1st and I have read some of Pack Darlings. I did start it. I didn't end up starting it like yesterday, just cause stuff. I ended up starting it last night right before I went to bed, and honestly it's addictive. I'm currently on chapter 10, which is 22% into the book, and Lila has just met the alphas, and I'm really interested to see how the story goes. This is super addictive, like it's super easy to read, super like, okay, I just want to keep going. It reads very much like a Wattpad story, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just it very much reads like one. So yes, I'm interested to see like the rest of the dynamics and how this plays out. Yeah, it's kind of all I have thoughts on it. Okay, so I'm yes wearing the same shirt as yesterday. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird, I just woke up from a nap. But I wanted to update because I'm gonna finish this real quick. So last night I updated you and I was like on like 10-15ish%. I wasn't very far in it. And then I went to bed and I read, before I went to bed I read to like 33%, and I am currently at 71%. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I think at the beginning stages we hadn't really gone into the dynamics between the 6 of them, of, you know, our 5 like alphas and and the omega. We hadn't really got their dynamic. Lila's life was kind of shit and I wasn't entirely connecting with it, but even with that, like, I was still flying through the book, and at the moment I am still flying through this book. I don't think I've ever read, well, maybe I have. I've never read a book this fast. I don't think. I also think it helps. Somehow the Kindle is helping me read faster, which I don't know how that works, but it is. Like, I'm reading, and I'm just like, I wonder how many pages I'm in, and I like do the math for the percentage to the page number, and I'm like reading super fast. So anyway, yeah, I'm really liking it. So we shall see what like my final thoughts are, but as of right now, it's like a 4-star read. Like, I like it that much, and there's not a lot of issues. There are a lot of trigger warnings, but yeah, I think my biggest issue, and I feel like a lot of people won't see this as an issue necessarily, is that none of any of the main characters' sexualities are really explained or explicitly stated. Like, I think they're all bi, except for Lila. I think Lila is straight, but like I think they're all bi, because there's the 5 main guys, and then there's the one guy Omega, and then like one of the characters is like in love with him and like they're together, and then the other ones do what they have to do for the pack and like do things, but they don't seem like they like men. They seem like they like women, so I think they're all bi, but I'm not really sure, especially because one of the boys, the pack alpha, likes Lila and they're like sexually attracted to Lila, so I'm not really sure. And that's kind of one of my issues with it, is that gay and lesbian are not bad words, and not once, or bisexual or anything are not bad words, and just they haven't said it, and I think that the author's trying to like make it in this world be like completely ambiguous and like it doesn't matter, like they're completely fine with whoever the hell you end up with, and that's great. But I also think there needs to be, because of the real world, in our world, there needs to be a definition of what they are, and like I said, it's not a bad thing to be defined as one. So yeah, that's my only issue, but other than that, really loving it, and I'm gonna go finish it and I will update you when I am done. And then okay, so I finished Pack Darlings and I absolutely loved it. In my last update I said that I was thinking about giving it 4 stars, but I have bumped my rating up to 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The ending left me reeling, and I think it was funny because like the second to last chapter, I'm reading and I'm sitting there, my dad was playing music and Begging by Madcon came on, and as I was reading, someone was begging, and I just thought it was funny. If you've read it, you know, but someone was begging. And yeah, so like I said, I gave it 4.5 stars. I really loved it. I can't give it 5 stars because it didn't immediately grip me. Now, even saying that, I definitely could not put this book down. Like, I read a majority of this book today, could not put it down. I had class, like I had Zoom class, and I set up my Zoom class, turned my camera off, set it to the side, like put it so I could sort of hear it, and read through the entire Zoom class because I was so invested in this book. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm so annoyed that I don't have the second one because I need the second one so badly. Like, so badly do I need the second one. But I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Like, it was amazing. Even if you don't like reverse harems or you've never gotten into them, because I've never read a reverse harem book. This is the first one, but I absolutely freaking loved it. It was so good. So good. And it just kept getting better and better and better. I will say that the first like 2 to 3 chapters, they're good, but there's a few things here and there that are said that I'm like, that's super cheesy. And it definitely reads like a Wattpad novel, but like in the best way possible. It is so addictive and you just want to continue reading. So like I said, I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So last night I did finish I think it's Her Royal Highness Seems to Be Angry, volume 1. I really liked it. It was super cute. I'm debating between a 3.5 and a 4-star for it, just because while the beginning was a little confusing, and then there was a lot of information given to you, and I get it, like first novel or first volume you have to do that, but it was a little bit confusing in the beginning, and then I was liking it, but it wasn't until like almost the very end where I understood kind of where the story was going that I really started to enjoy it. So I'm kind of between a 3.5 and a 4. I feel like it leads more towards no, I think it leads more towards a 3.5. I do definitely want to continue with the series, and I do like it. There are trigger warnings of blood, gore, murder, death, destruction. Anything like that is definitely in this manga, but I did really like it, so I do want to continue. I do want to have it in my collection, so yeah. Okay, so I am here to wrap up the vlog and tell you all of my thoughts. So I'm going to talk about the first book. So Capture the Crown. Read 3 books in this vlog. Obviously, first was Capture the Crown by Jennifer Estes, whatever. I ended up giving this 3.5 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read was Pack Darlings by Lola Rock. I ended up giving this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Trigger warnings definitely for self-harm, sort of an eating disorder, gore, violence, cursing, blood, attempted murder, abuse, child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence. Like, it's a lot of trigger warnings in it, but it's a really, really good book. And if you have never gotten into reverse harem, I definitely recommend it, because I had never picked up a reverse harem book and I absolutely loved it. And the interesting thing was that not a single one of the spicy scenes was including a woman, which was interesting, but hey. But it's super good, super spicy. It was amazing. And then the third book that I ended up reading for this vlog was Her Royal Highness Seems to Be Angry, and ended up giving this one 3 to 3.5 out of 5 stars. That is all for this art vlog. Hoping to do one of these every month with all of the books that come out in the next month, but we shall see what happens. And if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you've read any of these books, or you plan to read any of the books, or you have any questions on these books, please do leave a comment down below. But wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you are well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!